Okay, so in our previous lecture, capacitive dividers were introduced. In this lecture, we will see how crest voltages are measured using capacitive dividers. First of all, about passive crest voltmeters, we will see some important points. They are rarely used nowadays due to the advent of digital techniques, electronic measurement techniques. They are rarely used, but they are very simple and adequately accurate if they are properly designed, and they are also cheap and reliable. And as you know, these passive circuits have excellent electromagnetic compatibility. Unlike electronic measuring systems, which may fail if electromagnetic interference is high, this will not be the case with passive circuits. And passive crest reading circuits are unable to process high voltage directly, and they are often used preferably with capacitive voltage dividers. Of course, even electronic circuits we use with capacitive dividers, or sometimes resistive dividers are used, but passive circuits use preferably capacitive dividers to first step down the voltage and then measure using the measuring equipment. So now recall the rectified circuit. So the basic circuit that we have studied for DC voltage generation. So this is, there will be a transformer like this. Terminal is grounded, this terminal is grounded, and then here there is a diode. Now what will be the output voltage? Hello? Hello? Is it audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this circuit we have studied some time back for generation of voltages. So if this is some Vm sin or cos omega t, what will be the voltage that is measured by this capacitor? Of course, this grounded already, but still I am showing here. What is V out?
Maximum.
Yeah, V out is equals to V max, right? If there is no loading, it will be like this. But if there is some loading, what will happen?
The voltage will be less than Vm.
Voltage will be less than Vm. Of course, a little bit voltage drop in the diode will be there. That drop we have neglected for high voltage, generation. But for low voltage measurements, it is of course still negligible, but it may introduce some errors. So the voltage, of course, it will be charged to the full, and then there will be discharge like this it was, right? Do you remember?
Yes, sir.
So what is this actually? There is some ripple kind of thing, right? Ripple voltage. Okay. So it is not pure DC, but certain amount of ripple used to be there. Why? Because after charging the capacitor will slowly discharge to the resistive load and then lose some voltage, right? So this what will happen. This fundamental circuit you remember, because crest voltage measurement means we are measuring the peak voltage only. So this is a passive circuit. So now we see the circuit proposed by Davis, Boulder and Strandring circuit, it is called. So it has two capacitors here. This is HV capacitor C1 and then the measuring capacitor C2. Now you see here there is a diode. For the time being, don't consider R2 and RD. So consider that only C2 and CS are there to understand the circuit what it is. Now if C2 and CS are there, then what will happen actually? What will happen? Suppose I have applied sinusoidal voltage here to high voltage. Dhaval.
Yes, sir. For positive half cycle, C2 will charge. And
C2 will almost respond instantaneously. Of course, neglect R2 and neglect RD. So, C2 and C1, it is a divider, right? It is connected to high voltage directly. Right? So, C2, whenever it is going through the positive half cycle, C2, gets voltage division here. Right? And then whenever C2 is going through the positive half cycle and towards the peak, the capacitor CS gets charged. Right? Suppose if there is no RD and no R2, these are not there, suppose. Then what will happen to the voltage of CS?
So CS will charge up to V2 maximum.
V2 maximum it will charge, and then after that, if there are no resistor RD and R2, and here often this is connected to electrostatic voltmeter of high impedance. So you can neglect the impedance of the voltmeter also. So what will happen to CS, the voltage of CS? Will it change after that?
If there is no resistor connected, it won't change, sir.
If there is no resistor connected,
No, sir, not change.
it will not change. Then can I use it for another measurement of voltage which is of less value? Suppose. Can I use it? Suppose the output voltage crest value decreased now. So once capacitor is charged and it is not discharging, so it won't work in general, right? So for certain amount of time, the reading time, say, okay. So for that amount of time, if the CS retains the voltage, that is fine. But after that, I should be able to read the crest voltage. So there must be a provision for RD. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So typically the time constant CS into RD is about 1 second, because a few seconds if it is there, then crest voltage can be easily measured, right? We may note down and within few seconds it should go down. Otherwise, if there is a reduction in the voltage, high voltage, after few seconds, the crest voltage we cannot measure. So in order to make it happen or make measurements possible, or to track the crest voltage properly, there should be a resistance RD should be introduced into the circuit. Now Once RD is introduced, what will happen? And CS into RD is of this magnitude. 1 second. So there is a limit on RD also. So this much only can be used. So once RD is introduced, will it work same way? Huh? Yeah, the voltage, output voltage V2 is not a constant value, but it would continuously decrease also. Some song is coming, I don't know from where it is. Who is that? Some song is coming and someone switched on fan, it seems. Okay, please tolerate for some time. Okay, now RD after introduction of RD, the voltage, output voltage will not remain constant, and one more problem will also be there here. There is a mismatch between impedances of C2 and CSRD. See, normally which should be of higher value or higher impedance? CS or C2? CS should have higher impedance, otherwise the divider ratio gets affected. Am I correct or not?
Yes, sir.
Now, with the introduction of RD, this balance is disturbed. Okay, apart from that, actually, just consider a constant voltage is applied to high voltage terminal or CS, the C1 capacitor, its high voltage terminal, a constant voltage is applied. Now, constant DC I am talking about. Just to understand, we will measure this, use for this measuring, AC voltages, crest voltages. But suppose if you apply constant DC, then you will understand what is going to happen here. See, C2 and CS. Suppose CS is discharging through RD. Then what will happen? Voltage across CS reduces, right? Then C2 will remain silent.
So he start charging to CS if it's less than.
Start charging. Actually, C2 also starts conducting, and then C2, from C2 current will pass through diode D and to CS as well as RD, right? Of course, if CS is getting charged, but in fact what happens is C2 and CS will discharge through RD. Okay, are you understanding? Both C2 and CS will discharge through RD.
Yes, sir.
Because as the voltage across CS is decreasing, then C2's voltage is high, so the diode becomes forward biased, and then both of them will be discharging. C2 will be discharging and CS will be discharging through RD. Okay.
Sir, at that moment, won't it be charging CS also?
See, both are discharging now. Its voltage is getting reduced. See, simultaneously things will happen. So you cannot exactly say CS is getting charged, because both will lose charge. Okay, both will lose charge, and RD, through RD they get discharged. Ultimately, suppose high voltage terminal of C1 is connected to DC. Ultimately, what will happen? Final result. I am not asking about which will be discharging and which, how it will be discharging and all. Final result is what? Until now, don't consider R2. Don't consider R2. What will be the final result?
V2 max.
Huh? V2 max का वैल्यू क्या है फाइनल? Okay, let us consider the circuit in toto, and then for DC condition, finally what should happen? What should happen to the capacitors? Ajay Kumar.
In case of DC, V2 is equal to C1 by C1 plus C2 into DC voltage.
No, I am not talking about voltage ratio and all. I am asking you, in any passive circuit having capacitors etc. Then under DC conditions, what will happen ultimately to the voltage of capacitor and to the current of inductor, or like that? In general, I am asking. Then you will understand what should be the circuit position.
So voltage is constant. Open circuit and constant.
Yes. All capacitors should be open, right? There should be no current through the capacitors. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
And inductors should be short circuited,
Short circuit.
right? Now capacitors, since we have capacitors, I am talking about capacitors. They should be open circuited. Now, so they will be charged to a particular voltage and then stop passing the current, and there will be no current, even displacement current also. Neglect the lossy current, we are not considering here. These are ideal capacitors you consider. So the displacement current will not be there after charging under DC, right? So they will get certain voltage and then stop. Now what will be that certain voltage? Whether it is 0 or something different. For example, across C2 you consider. Suppose the voltage is non-zero. Then what will happen? Voltage of C2 is non-zero. Then what will happen?
Charges CS only and RD and also through RD flows out to RD also.
But it is steady state, there should be no current.
So it only flows to RD only. It only flows to RD only.
It flows through RD. See, for flowing through RD, from where the charges should come?
So,
See, charges should come from C2. Okay. So, but steady state, the charge on the capacitor plate should not change. Right? So, if C2 has certain voltage V, the only condition is CS should also have certain voltage, same voltage V. Right? Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And CS should also have same voltage V, so that diode D will not conduct.
yes, sir.
But if CS is having certain voltage V, then through RD it should discharge.
Yes, sir. CS will discharge to RD.
Okay. So when it discharges through RD, then that means that it is not steady state.
Yes, sir.
So the steady state will be reached only when C2 and CS, the voltage becomes zero. Voltage becomes zero because that is happening due to this connecting this RD. If RD is not connected now, then C2 and CS will retain their voltage and then then be silent. That voltage must be in the ratio of V1 by V2. In the ratio of this divider ratio, C1 in series with C2 parallel CS. If there is no RD, but if RD is there, then everything will discharge. C2 and CS will discharge through RD. Okay, and they become, they get a zero voltage finally. So if DC is connected there. So this gives an explanation. So the moment RD is connected, CS discharges through RD. Now during this process, discharging process, C2 should also discharge in such a way that the voltage of C2 should not be more than the voltage of CS. So for what reason? Because the rate of decrease of C2 should be more than the rate of decrease of CS. The reason is otherwise it will affect the voltage of C2. CS.
Time constant same, sir. R2 C2 is equal to RD CS.
No. Which value should be when C2 is discharging? When C2 is discharging, you observe both R2 and RD will come into picture.
Yes, sir.
But when CS is discharging, only RD will come into picture. Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
So the combined time constant R2 into RD by R2 plus RD, that resistance, equivalent resistance you have to consider. Okay. So both should almost simultaneously lose the voltage. Then there will be no reverse current across the diode and there will be no charging of the voltage C2. See, C2 voltage is following, suppose, this profile. It should not get disturbed by like this. So it should not get disturbed by additional charging from C2. So in order to achieve this, the C2 also should discharge in such a way that voltage across the diode should not change during the discharge. Okay, to make this, whether R2 value should be more or less compared to RD?
So R2 should be less.
Anyone else?
So we have to see the time constant value, like the C2RD should be less than CSRD.
No, in general, you know that relationship between C2 and CS, right?
Which is more?
Yes, is more.
Value.
Sir, C2 will be more.
C2 will be more, not CS. Impedance of CS is more. Impedance of CS is 1 by omega CS, right? Impedance of CS should be more, but when you consider values of capacitors, C2 will be more than CS.
Yes, sir.
So since C2 is more than CS, then obviously R2 has to be
Less than.
less than RD.
Less than RD, sir.
R2 less than RD. And CS, sorry, C2 more than CS. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you can see in a different way also. See the moment RD is connected, RD parallel with CS is the impedance actually, right? RD parallel with CS is the impedance, and in order to make the time constant 1 second, and this combined impedance should be more than the impedance of parallel combination of C2 and R2. Why? Otherwise loading effect will be there. Okay. So that is why. So if R2 is not there, it cannot be made. The moment R2 is introduced, again there will be problem. See, we started introducing RD. RD is introduced for what reason? Because it does not, if it is not there, it does not enable us for the measurement or following the crest voltage is not possible, right? So RD is introduced. Since RD is introduced, we need to introduce R2. And now if R2 is introduced, will it have no effect? Hello?
It will also lead to an impedance imbalance, sir.
Actually, the divider ratio will change now.
Yes, sir.
Of course, combined impedance of R2 and C2 is less than combined impedance of CS and RD, but the divider ratio will change now. And when C1 and C2 are only there, only C1, C2 are there, then the voltage ratio is independent of frequency, because frequency terms get cancelled out. Yesterday we have seen, right?
Yes, sir.
But if RD is introduced, or if R2 is introduced, then the it is parallel to C2. Therefore, it is not pure imaginary impedance, but you will get complex impedance. Therefore, in the divider ratio, frequency dependence comes into picture. So these are all the possible sources of errors with this kind of the circuit. Let us see.
Sir, then that will lead to harmonics also, no, sir? Then?
Which one? Huh?
If there is frequency dependency, then harmonics also come into play.
If there is frequency dependency and the ratio changes with harmonics also. So that is the difficulty of this circuit. Yes.
Okay, sir. There is an effect of capacitor charges capacitor and voltage of another capacitor will be less than previous one with charges.
Can you be a little bit louder? Here, a lot of noise is there.
charges capacitor, then voltage of the CS will be less than voltage of C2.
A little bit. See, a little bit. That is what is known as charging error. So because C2 will also lose charge while it is charging CS, and there is a diode also. So there will be some error in maximum voltage of C2 also, CS also. Okay. And see, several errors are there. This CS is discharging now. Continuously ripple is occurring. So that error is called discharging error. And since CS is discharging, the discharging error causes C2 to charge the CS whenever it loses charge. So C2 has to compensate that charge in every cycle, right? So that while charging, it causes charging error. And introduction of RD has caused this. And again, introduction of R2 will cause this frequency related errors. So there is a summary of possible errors here. Now, RD necessitates R2 to be introduced, right? And RD we need in order to track. Now, wave shape error due to ripple called discharging error. See that voltage waveform is like this. So it is not a pure DC, means the peak voltage is not measured here. So it will continuously decrease or increase like this. Ripple will be there. If you use average reading meter, you will get average value, or RMS reading meter RMS value. But still there will be some error due to this one. And this discharge error causes the recharge error, because it is always discharging in each cycle, it has to be compensated. So the charging should happen. So during that charging again, the charging error will be there. Introduction of resistors causes frequency dependent ratio error. This already discussed. And the total error estimated typically is about 5% actually. And one problem with this is, typically if RD is about 30 mega ohms, R2 is about 150 kilo ohms typically. And this enhances the error actually. R2 is very small, so this enhances the error further. So therefore, two small resistors are to be avoided. So after this circuit, there has been a proposal from different scientists on different circuits. Some of them I will show you. So this is a modified circuit by Rebus. So here he avoids the resistance R2, because R2 is causing the frequency related errors, etc. So he avoids R2 by adding an equalizing branch. This is equalizing branch. So he does not allow C2 to lose the charge, but instead an equal and opposite branch. Exactly, this branch is connected here. A little bit modification is there that I will tell you. Only instead of one capacitor and one resistor, you have this additional circuit. I will tell you just 1 minute. So, but this branch and this branch is, one is in positive cycle and other is a negative cycle. So while one is losing the charge, other will be gaining. So that will be compensating C2. And does not allow C2 to lose the charge. So this is how the R2 is eliminated, and therefore we eliminate the errors, all errors related to R2, such as frequency error, etc. Now here there is a additional circuit. Just 1 minute. Now you see, the meter is connected here. What is the difference here actually? CS2 is connected to discharge through RD, but there is a additional capacitor CS1 here, and there is a resistance RS. Right? Now, which will, see, both the CS1 and CS2 get the charge in the positive half cycle. Do you understand? Get the charge and they get charged to V2 max in positive half cycle. Do you understand? Both will get V2 max. Now, after this instant, they have to discharge. Right? They have to discharge. Now, which will discharge faster? CS1 or CS2? CS2 will discharge faster. So, this additional circuit is introduced to provide additional delay, because the CS1 has to discharge through this path, which contains RS plus RD. RS plus RD. Both will come in series. So, since it has to discharge through that path, so its time constant is higher, so it discharges slowly. So, if it discharges slowly, then the discharge error gets reduced. Discharge error. Because the discharging voltage will be small in this case. But what will happen? Now we are using two capacitors here, right? These two capacitors should get charged from where? C2 only. So here more charge has to come from C2, right? So this will cause increase in recharge error or error due to charging. Of course, discharge error is decreasing, but recharge error increases. Of course, the author, that this scientist claims that if it is properly designed, the errors can be optimized. Okay. In fact, the circuit can be simulated in PSpice, and then those who are interested can do that also. Next, this one more circuit is actually there are several circuits for measurement of crest voltages. So this is another circuit reported by Naidu and Kamaraju. Go through. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. And then this is about passive circuits. But passive circuits are rarely used, as I told in the beginning itself. Even in our lab also we have electronic digital crest reading voltmeter only. Now let us learn about basic principle of digital measurements, crest reading measurements. This circuit here, a simple op amp is given here, right? And this is plus and this is minus. If there is no diode in maybe may complicate your understanding. If there is no diode, if there is no diode, what will be the output voltage?
So amplifier gain into VN.
Huh?
Amplifier gain into VN.
V out is equal to V in, right?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Everyone got it? This is simple voltage follower.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now if diode is connected, what will happen? What it will do? Hello?
Negative peak will only
Hmm? Relative?
negative peak it will read, sir. Negative.
Negative peak it will read.
Yes, sir.
Why negative peak it will read?
Copper sir, positive peak, sir.
Positive peak it will read.
Yes.
And what will happen after that?
Charges capacitor.
It charges the capacitor, and once the capacitor is charged to a particular voltage, then what will happen?
Then diode will off.
Diode will not conduct, right? Unless the input voltage increases.
Yes, sir.
If the input voltage increases, again it has to match, right? So until VIN becomes V out. But if the input voltage decreases, then the circuit cannot work, right?
Yes, sir.
So in order to, again same problem, but what is avoided here, when we are directly connecting using a passive circuit also there is a diode and then a capacitor, right? What is the fundamental difference of this circuit with the passive circuit? Why should we connect an operational amplifier here?
Operation is fast, sir. Operation is fast and
No, not
charging and charging.
not fast actually.
Input and output circuit.
Yes, sir.
See, the input impedance of operational amplifier is high, right? We are simply isolating the circuit indirectly. Okay. Now, in order to achieve that this voltage, output voltage follows the input voltage. Okay. Input voltage means crest voltage. If crest voltage, of course we need certain time to read. Maybe 1 second, 2 seconds, a few seconds you can assume. Right. So, after few seconds it has to fall down so that it tracks VIN even if VIN decreases. Input voltage decreases. Then, in order to do that, just like we have connected RD there, right? Here also, we should connect a resistor. Do you understand why I am connecting this?
Yes, sir.
Similar reason. Just like we have connected RD there, we have connected this here. And this switch, this switch, so of course, can be used for reset, Suppose you do not want to use resistor R, simply press the reset button, it will again measure the crest voltage. But the problem is it won't track the input voltage if it is reducing, with time. The input crest voltage. We are interested in crest voltage, but crest voltage in one cycle, it is about 20 milliseconds, right? So now, after this crest voltage, for certain amount of time we would like to retain it, maybe few cycles. But if the crest voltage again decreases, it should be able to track. So for that purpose, we introduce resistance R here, right? So this is the basic principle of digital crest reading meter. Before going to the important points, I would like to draw the actual digital crest voltmeter, how it looks like. So this is a divider. Of course, since input impedance of digital circuits is high, this is connected like this. Operational amplifier, this is plus terminal, this is minus terminal, this will be connected like this. A diode, again one more operational amplifier is used here, and here a switch is used for resetting purpose. This is plus, this is minus. Same resistor. Again one more operational amplifier here. This is plus, this is minus. And here display. Of course, here analog to digital converter and then display can be used. Typically, these capacitors are about 100 nanofarads and this resistor is about 10 mega ohms. Now, here, so why these three operational amplifiers are used here instead of one? I hope you can understand easily. Here, if it is directly connected to the output, what will happen actually? Again, the meter input to it will be connected across the input to the meter. So in order to avoid that, this last operational amplifier is introduced, and the second one is introduced for reset purpose, separate reset purpose. Okay, so its operation is clear now. Any questions on it? Simply this is first voltage amplifier, voltage follower. So here we expect same voltage as this at this node, and again whatever voltage appears here will appear at this node also. Okay, now this switch is used for reset purpose, and again one more voltage follower, same voltage whatever occurs here will occur here, which will be converted to digitally and then measured. So is it clear?
Sir, why do we need this separate op-amp for reset? Can't we use that reset functionality in the first op-amp itself?
In this one, in the first one,
Yes, sir.
if we short this, we will be, of course it can be used, technically it can be used, But this additional this thing is introduced. Technically it is, theoretically you can use, but you will be unnecessarily disturbing this circuit.
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. I got it, sir.
Somebody asked some doubt. Poonam, I think.
No, sir.
Okay. So this is about digital circuits. Now even microprocessors are used in recent times, which will even adjust the divider ratio also. Some feedback system will be there. So, but basic technique is this. It can be computerized. Now, certain important points regarding even passive and active circuits. The HV capacitor C1 is designed for rated voltage and is placed within the test area. So it will be in the test area, high voltage area, inside the lab, while the LV arm C2, including the peak circuit and measuring instrument, is located in the control area. Control area means with us. Of course, even in C2 also, it is desirable to have half of C2 in the below the C1 itself. C1 is big capacitor in size. In value, its capacitance is low. So this is a high voltage capacitor C1. So through a cable we need to connect actually. So part of C2, it is better to have here itself at the bottom of C1. But a part of C2 will also be there in the control area. So therefore, they need to be connected through a coaxial cable. This is cable. A coaxial cable is necessary to connect the two units. And of course, C2 can be changed in steps to adapt the usable range. Now, the divider range can be changed. So that C2 which is in the control area, that C2 can be changed in steps in order to change the range. So, and the coaxial cable is necessary to connect the two units. One is in control area, another is in high voltage area. So, therefore, there is a coaxial cable. Of course, measuring also, even if entire C2 is there, for measuring also we need a coaxial cable. But coaxial cable also has capacitance, right? And the capacitance is in the order of C2 only, normally. So, that is why the length of the coaxial cable is also to be fixed, or when you are calibrating, so the length of the coaxial cable need to be considered, and once it is calibrated, it should not be changed. Once it is calibrated with a particular length of and particular type of coaxial cable, it should not be changed again, otherwise you have to calibrate once more. So this is one important point about it. And the voltage V2 should be high enough to avoid noise, because if V2 is small, then it is prone to noises due to high voltage existing there, and then that may introduce noise on the cable also. So therefore V2 should be, that signal on V2 should be high enough. And when breakdown occurs, high voltage of short duration may be built up at the LV end of the capacitor C1. So there are this is HV end and this is ground end of the capacitor. At C1, of course, LV end of C1 is connected to C2. So what will happen when breakdown occurs? Sudden discharge of the capacitor takes place, So charge will go like this, positive charge and negative charge will go like this. Therefore, a huge peak is possible across capacitor C2. It will induce a huge peak voltage which will travel as a wave to the measuring circuits. So it may damage the circuit also. Therefore, proper protection need to be taken care. So protection gaps or gas discharge tubes have to be connected across C2. And it is desirable to place part of the capacitor C2 directly under C1, that's already mentioned, and part in the measuring circuit. So these are some important points about this peak reading, crest reading voltmeter. Yeah, this is complete now. You have any questions? Hello?
The third voltage follower is used for what purpose, sir?
Which one? Third voltage follower, if you are connecting it to another device, if you are connecting the output to another device, then this R2, this capacitor and resistor in parallel, they will come in parallel with the output device also.
Okay.
So to avoid that, the third one is used. Second one is for reset, separate facility for resetting purpose. Of course, it is not essential, but it is additional as an additional safety measure. We will use reset only with the second amplifier because it will be isolated from the first one also.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, so if there are no questions, I will close it.